What if a single quarter from 2001 still carried the quiet heartbeat of an entire state? Look closer. That silver disc in your hand, or in the image, is more than metal. It is Vermont frozen in time, a moment of cold air, maple sap, and the promise of freedom. Most people spend these coins without a second glance. Collectors stop. They turn them slowly under the light, because this one holds a story that feels almost alive. In 2001, the United States Mint released the 14th coin in the 50 State Quarters program. Vermont's turn had come. The state that joined the Union in 1791 finally stepped into the national spotlight. Over 880 million of these quarters poured into circulation. Philadelphia struck more than 423 million with the P mint mark. Denver added hundreds of millions more. They were everywhere. In change drawers, in laundry machines, in the hands of children who never knew they were holding history. Yet the design itself feels intimate. On the reverse, two maple trees rise against the outline of Camel's Hump mountain. A figure in a jacket and scarf tends sap buckets. The state motto, Freedom and Unity, floats beside the scene. Below rests the year 2001 and the familiar E pluribus unum. The artist T. James Ferrell captured something essential: the patient labor of sugaring season, the quiet pride of a small state that once stood fiercely independent. Most people never notice the finer details: the texture of the bark, the way the buckets hang, the soft curve of the distant mountain, the careful placement of the motto that has guided Vermont for centuries. These are the hidden details that separate a spent coin from a piece that still feels fresh. Hold one under good light, and the trees almost seem to move. The figure almost seems to breathe. That is the power of thoughtful design. Now look at the other side. George Washington still faces left, the same portrait that has watched American coins for generations. Liberty. In God we trust. United States of America. $quarter. And there, near the ribbon of Washington's hair, sits the tiny P. That single letter tells you where this particular coin began its life, in Philadelphia. The mint mark is easy to overlook, yet collectors treat it like a signature. Different mints, different stories. The P version of the Vermont quarter is common in everyday grades, but high-end uncirculated pieces become scarce. True gem examples in the highest certified grades are genuinely hard to find. That scarcity creates quiet excitement among serious collectors. Condition is everything. A heavily worn Vermont quarter is still worth 25 cents. A crisp, uncirculated piece with full original luster can climb higher, sometimes into the low tens of dollars, occasionally more for exceptional survivors. Proof versions, especially the silver ones struck in San Francisco, carry stronger premiums because they were made for collectors from the start. And then there are the genuine mint errors, off-center strikes, die cracks, the occasional doubled die that appears on certain Philadelphia pieces. These are not fantasy rarities. They are real, documented, and valued according to how dramatic and well-preserved they remain. Most of us will never find one. That is exactly why the hunt stays thrilling. That keeps collectors awake at night. What if the quarter sitting in your change jar is not ordinary after all? What if the light catches a tiny doubling on Washington's ear, or a soft die crack that most eyes miss? The possibility is small. The curiosity is large. That is the heartbeat of coin collecting. Collectors do not chase these coins only for money. They chase the feeling. The Vermont quarter is a tiny time machine. It carries the scent of wood smoke and boiling sap. It carries the memory of a state that chose independence before joining the larger nation. When you hold a well-preserved example, you are not just holding metal. You are holding a fragment of American landscape and character. That emotional attachment is what turns casual looking into lifelong collecting. People build albums. They travel to shows. They study under magnification. They feel connected to something larger than themselves. Imagine the cold Vermont morning in 2001 when the first of these coins left the mint. Imagine the maples already standing silent under late winter snow. Imagine the slow drip of sap into metal buckets. The coin captures that exact atmosphere. It is why the design still feels cinematic more than 2 decades later. Zoom in on the trees. Watch the light move across the mountain. The coin becomes a scene rather than an object. So what is a realistic value today? Circulated pieces remain face value. Attractive uncirculated coins trade for modest premiums. Truly superb certified examples can reach into the low hundreds for the rarest grades. Dramatic errors command more, but only when the damage is clear and authentic. The market is honest. It rewards condition, originality, and genuine scarcity. No wild claims, just the quiet truth of supply, demand, and beauty. Have you ever pulled a Vermont quarter from your pocket and stopped to look? Have you felt that small jolt of recognition when the maple trees and the motto came into focus? That moment is the real treasure. The coin does not need to be rare to be meaningful. It only needs to be noticed. If this 2001 Vermont quarter has ever crossed your path, share the story in the comments. Was it worn smooth by years of travel, or did it still shine like it had just left the mint? Did you keep it, or did it continue its journey through other hands? Tell us, because every coin carries a private history, and the best stories begin when someone finally decides to look closer. The next time you see one of these quarters, pause. Turn it slowly. Let the maples and the mountain remind you that even ordinary money can hold extraordinary quiet power. Freedom and unity are not just words on a coin. They are the reason this small piece of silver still feels alive.